You think you're a jack of all trades and bounce around from one interest to the next. But believe it or not, studies show that your scattered interests might be your biggest creative advantage and will make you more likely to discover a breakthrough. Let's talk about it while I work on a unique creative painting inspired by New York City. I'm painting the New York City skyline, but with a twist. This idea came to me after my recent trip to New York City. I highly recommend taking the free ferry to see the Statue of Liberty next time you visit. It was my first time visiting New York City in a long time, and it was energizing to be within the city's hustle and bustle. Although I was just a small person in a big city, for some reason, while I was there, I felt a sort of pride, and that I was part of something greater. This is the feeling I wanted to try and capture in this watercolor painting. After I saw this picture that my brother took that day of the city skyline, I had an idea. What if I used tape to add in Lady Liberty overlooking the city? So I got to work. I mocked up my idea in Photoshop, found the images of Lady Liberty that I was going to try to replicate, and began taping. The idea of using tape in my artwork was originally inspired by Kristen Voskor's paintings, where she uses thin tape to create an extra element in her artwork that conveys meaning. I've already made several paintings using this technique, and every time I try it, I fall in love with it a little more. You might have been told that your creative endeavors have a lack of focus. You have a dream hobby or project, try it out, and then some other new idea captures your attention. Was the first idea bad? No, not necessarily. But something new just captivated your interest, and you've got to give it a try. And after a bit, you move on to the next idea, and the next. From the outside, it may look as though you're getting nowhere because you're good enough at many things, but you don't have any breakthroughs yet. But what makes someone more likely to have a creative breakthrough than others? The answer researchers found in this study called Superman or the Fantastic Four might surprise you. Researchers tracked creators across 234 different publishers in an effort to figure out what makes some comic book creators more likely to produce blockbusters than others. The study found that factors such as a creator's years of experience, the resources available to their publisher, and even the number of comics they had previously produced did not increase their likelihood of creating a blockbuster hit. In fact, creators who repeatedly produced the same type of comic were linked to lower creative performance. The strongest predictor of a blockbuster success was the number of different genres a creator had explored. The more genres someone worked in, the greater their chances of producing something truly original. What was even more surprising was that while teams of specialists performed well, individual creators with broad experience across multiple genres consistently outperformed entire teams of specialists. One person, who was a jack of all trades, so to speak, had more of a likelihood to create hit after hit than a team of narrow experts in one field. This study shows that major creative breakthroughs often come from people who explore a broad range of creative endeavors. This would explain why these powerhouse creative people are few and far in between. As a society, we are taught early on to undervalue these individuals because from the outside, they often appear all over the place early in their careers and therefore are assumed to be less advanced than those who settle down, find their niche quickly, and become a specialist in one area. Later in this video, I'll share an example of a person who successfully applied this practice into their art journey, whose paintings are now known all over the world. I thought I finished this painting yesterday, but now that I look at it, I feel like this white part, which is supposed to be her arm and like the back of her neck, just doesn't look right here. So I think I'm gonna try painting it in and seeing what happens. Not many people know about the story behind Vincent van Gogh's painting breakthrough. Throughout his early life, he pursued one profession after another. Then, at around the age of 30, with few possessions and seemingly no career success, he started learning art from a children's book called The Guide to the ABCs of Drawing. He began sketching the people and landscapes around him. Even then, progress was neither immediate nor linear. At one point in his art journey, he became convinced that all colors were simply variations of black and painted almost exclusively in monochrome. Later, he completely did a 180 and decided that black doesn't truly exist in nature and that every shadow is composed of a combination of colors. Then, for some time, he believed real artists should only focus on human figures, only to abandon that idea when he realized he wasn't good at it. The works we know him for today, The Starry Night, Sunflowers, and many others, were created largely during the final 2 years of his life. By then, because of his broad experience in a variety of art genres, he was able to combine it all into a distinctive artistic vision that was uniquely his own. In your art journey, let yourself go through a messy exploration phase and give yourself time for creative connections to form. Being a jack of all trades and bouncing around from one interest to the next isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, studies show that they might be exactly the thing that makes your work unlike anyone else's. If anything in this video was helpful and speaks to you, please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.